Hello, I'm Christine Brookins, and this is Connecting Our Community. I am here in Studio Forget-Me-Not with Laura Stuart. Laura, thank you for having me here today.
You're welcome.
So I'd like you to tell me a little bit about, well, first of all, your role at the studio here. What is your title?
I'm the director here at the studio,
Okay.
and that role entails coming up with curriculum for art classes all week long. So it's day, morning, afternoon, and then also planning our special events.
So you have a full plate,
Yeah.
and we're just getting started. So we're sitting here in the gallery, and the artwork around us has all been done by clientele of the studio. And you serve a population of individuals that are intellectually and developmentally disabled. Is that true?
That is correct, yes.
So you talked about classes and other special events. What type of classes do you offer here?
We have everything you can think of in terms of creativity. So we have painting and drawing and jewelry making. We have mixed media. We have classes that focus on ceramics and pottery on the pottery wheel. Just about everything, of all the classics. And we're starting to tiptoe into some more digital areas as well. So.
Interesting. Yeah, we all have to keep up with the times and technology, but the work around us is so beautiful and colorful. So what does a typical day look like?
Well, a typical day is usually a class in the morning, and then we have a little bit of a break, and then we have an afternoon class. And it depends, it varies each day. So this morning's class was kind of a general art class. That teacher has a focus in ceramics, but also does a lot of painting, photography, different things like that. And then the afternoon class today is a sensory-friendly class. So a little bit of a smaller amount of people as far as attendance. We do like a maximum 6-person attendance. And then we have different things around for those who have more sensitivities to like either light or sound and things like that.
Okay. So that's a particular group that is kept small on purpose. And what ages are the clientele that you serve?
Most of the time it's usually 18 and up.
Okay.
Yeah, so adult age.
And is this something that the participants come in and pay for their materials and create whatever the class is about? How does that work?
We charge like a $10 fee for each class.
Okay.
But it just depends on the program itself, because we just started a program on Thursdays and Fridays of each week that is sort of our, it's called Next Level, so it's an art vocational program, and that is all day. So that's an all day where they're really immersed in art, and that's an official program. It's not a day program, but it's like a working program.
So let's talk about that. What type of vocations would somebody be pursuing if they were taking that class?
The vocation of being an artist, basically. Making artwork to sell. Since this location is a retail location on Main Street, and we have the store and this gallery space here, and also the classroom, they can really immerse themselves into a life chosen as an artist and making work to sell.
Okay, so this is not art-related careers. This is you are being an artist in whatever your focus would be, your medium, and you learn how to concentrate on that and how to improve to be able to sell professionally.
Exactly.
Wow, that's got to be intense.
It's cool.
How many folks do you have in that program right now?
So that program is brand new as of this month.
Okay.
Well, no, this is May. It's brand new as of April. So it was around the 16th of the month we launched that program, so a little over 2 weeks old.
Okay.
And what we're gathering from the participants is what they like to do.
Okay.
What makes them tick as an artist, where their creativity lies, and how can we, as teaching artists, so all the teachers in that program are artists who also sell their work and have, you know, whether it's in shows or whether it's in galleries or however they sell their work, they have that experience to bring to the table, and then we try to tap into what makes them excited, and then also how they can take their art and really enhance their own skill level and basically create their own voice through their work.
I love that. So in the creating the voice, I imagine that you do work with a number of artists that this is their form of expression. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say probably half of our folks either have some type of, maybe, you know, there's some, you know, inability to speak on some level, but this is their form of expression, and it's really cool to
Well,
see.
and looking around, it is really cool to see the different medium, to see all the colors and all the names, because they're all different artists. I can only imagine that it's very exciting when you have a room full of artists creating.
It really is. And what's so cool is they form connections here. So they're coming to the program, they're getting to know other people in the program, whether it's the art classes or the specific vocational program. And the cool thing is they're getting a sense of community with these folks that they're coming and becoming part of the art scene with, but then they're also going out to dinner with each other at night, or they're going to the movies on different days of the week. So they're really forming those bonds and connections that are community that we like to see.
That's awesome. That is, you know, making friends like anyone else would out in the community. I like that.
Exactly.
That's really very nice. So you mentioned that program, the vocational program, is Thursday, Friday. So is it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that you have classes, and are they just open to the public? Do you sign up in advance? What types of things?
We take signups in advance because we want to keep the classroom size manageable no matter what. Everybody has a different ability range, and you know, we like to give them as much attention as we can, so we don't get classes to be too big. So we take, and some of our classes are a maximum of 12 people, and some of our classes are a maximum of 6 because of the sensory needs. So they're all signups online. They're to the public in that they're to the public in this field. So we have people come in who, you know, are from other agencies and things like that serve people with intellectual disabilities who attend classes here.
And as we reference the agency, the studio and the gallery, Forget Me Not, is part of Not Forgotten, the overall umbrella. How is that connection? How does that work?
So when I started here, I had met Sonia years ago through painting furniture and just getting to know Sonia through painting furniture in her house.
Okay.
I met her at another job I was working at in a day program, and she and I clicked, and then years later she contacted me wanting a mural in a center that she was creating at the time. And I had a conversation with her about how I always wanted to create an art center. And Sonia, being Sonia, she's like, come and do it here. So
That's awesome.
It was like, I couldn't even say no, because she had the space in, I think it was less than a week or two. She had a space.
A woman with a mission.
Yeah, for sure. So that was really cool. And so to know that this is an opportunity of a lifetime, this is something I always wanted to do, and then to have it presented. So it was just so cool. So I really, so we worked hard. She and I together put it together. When naming it Studio Forget Me Not, it was because we felt like we wanted to give it its own presence, but have it be part of that Not Forgotten Home and Community Services name, but be like a branch off of that tree.
Right.
So Studio Forget Me Not came about. And that was 7 years ago, which is crazy because time flies.
Well, I think that if anybody comes in and looks at the art, they're not likely to forget it. So I think the name is apt. But let's take a step. How did you get involved in all of this? What's your background?
So my background, my mother's an artist, so
Okay.
I was introduced at a very young age to art. So if she took an art class, typically I would go along, and whether it'd be something where she was painting a barn in a field, I would be sitting there with her doing my own on my sketch pad. But also I did go to school for art and graphic design, and then later for art education, and got my art education certification. And then that led me into teaching art for a while. But teaching art is not always a full-time job. so,
Okay.
so after several years of, being a part-time art teacher at this school and then that school, I applied for a job at another service provider. And I asked on the interview if I could start an art program there. And they were like, well, you can definitely use your art here for sure. And so that's kind of what led me into this field. And I fell in love because to me, the folks we work with are such a joy. And I can honestly say, walking in here, if ever I'm in a bad mood, walking into the studio, once those classes start, it's like you're just transformed. You're in another place. And I love the folks we work with so much. The appreciation for what we do is off the charts. Because I've worked with teenagers too, and so
That's a whole nother level,
that's a whole
right?
other level. And so so yeah, it's really been a growing process and a labor of love, but because I love it so much and love them so much.
I mean, it is amazing that you have that background. You were essentially born into art with your mom, but then to go to school to be an art teacher, and now the way you can express yourself and more importantly, help other people express themselves is really quite impressive.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in the gallery. As I look around, all of these pieces are for sale. Do you help the artists to learn how to price their pieces of art?
Yeah, and that's an ongoing thing. So we just had a conversation about that last week. Yes, we talk about pricing a lot, especially in this new program. How to price, how to frame, how to display, all those things are conversations. So yes, we do talk about that. We talk about the amount of time they've spent on something, the cost of the supplies and how that factors in, and also, where we're located and what our average sale is and where we can fall within the mix of that.
So you're giving them a lesson in business as well.
That's true. Yeah.
It's not just in creating.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody that is like a repeat artist that continues to create and sell regularly?
Yes, we do. Yeah. Actually, this woman right here, Lori, she sells on a regular basis. I think, her work is so outstanding and colorful and detailed. And she always has volumes of work in here. And I think so it's the combination of all that she puts into that and then how much she's able to make. But she's always selling. But we've got I feel like almost every one of our artists, I think this last quarter sold something. So if it's something small or something where it's in more volume, but yeah.
Do you find that the customers that come into the gallery are looking specifically for art, or looking to support the community, or somewhere in between?
I think it's somewhere in between. When we took over this location, that was about 2 years ago, this location was another art store.
Okay.
And when they left, we came right into the same space. So sometimes people come in and they think it's the same place because it is an art store. So maybe they're expecting to see another artist who had work in here before, but then when we tell them our mission and they walk through, then it's a completely changed thing. And a lot of times people are very inspired by what they're seeing.
So tell me about that mission. I know that, that Not Forgotten as a whole is just supporting the uniqueness and providing opportunities. But specifically for the studio, when you come in every day, what's your mission when you're serving these clients?
The mission is to really, I feel like this gives purpose to people. Art really gives purpose to people. It's meaningful. And I don't know too many artists in my professional life who are in it for the money.
Understand.
They're more because it's a part of them. It's a part of their breathing. It's their soul. And I feel like it makes them happy. And then on top of it, if we sell, that's an incredible bonus. So I think the first thing is just to see the joy. And we do have a lot of classes where there's a lot of joy. And that's what keeps me going. It's that knowing that this really makes them happy. To be able to express really makes them happy. So
Absolutely, because as we talked about, there are some folks that aren't able to express themselves in other ways. And just looking around at the possibilities.
it's true. Yeah, art is kind of like, it's a bridge, right? It's like almost like a vehicle, being able to take somebody to a place where maybe they can't, articulate it, but they can put it on canvas or put it in a rug or whatever it is that they're making.
Or the jewelry, you said that you have folks making jewelry. So you do have people coming through Carnegie, just coming in here, and you're making sales regularly also, aren't you?
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah, I find it impressive. And so what if you're where somebody used to be, if they get in and discover Studio Forget Me Not as a result? I think that's where they were guided to be.
Exactly, and it usually it makes people happy to know that they're purchasing something with meaning when they come in here. Something that, the money all goes back to the artist, so that's the other thing. I mean, we only maybe take out for frames that we've bought and things like that, but all the money goes back to them too. So that's almost unheard of in art. As a professional artist, I've put my work in galleries before that take 50%,
Yes.
So you kind of go, well, that's another way that we can support them in this journey. It's cool.
And it sounds like you have a lot of interaction with the other programs at Not Forgotten, that somebody participating in the REACH program will come down here, or that the individuals maybe that receive HAB or companion services might come in here. Is that where you're tending to see most of the clientele that come in? Or do you have people that only come to the studio and don't participate in other programs?
We have people that come in often, just that don't participate in anything else. They just want to come. We have events here in Carnegie that are fun, like the Carnegie Crawl, or they have different things at Christmas time, lots of sales, parades, you name it. We have it on Main Street. So different people are coming in for different reasons, but we do have a lot of support within our artist community where families come and they want to support the artist that they know who's having a show today or whatever it is. So.
And when you mentioned Carnegie, isn't there something about painting a crosswalk from several years ago? Was that an effort that the studio was involved in?
That was an effort that the studio was involved in. I can't say it was extremely successful. We painted the crosswalk and it turned out beautiful, but it didn't last too long. But then that's just kind of, it's not like we paint on roads every day.
Right.
But yes, we did do that. That was a fun project. It was fun to be able to block off the street and know that you can sit on the street and paint right in the middle of the street. So.
Sounds like fun. Just
It
even
was.
if it didn't last long, you drive by
It
one
was.
time and I did that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what other types of events do the artists get involved in? Do you host events here in the studio, or do you go out to community events?
We do both. We host art shows and sales here. And then we also partner with other places. We've partnered with libraries. We've partnered with other organizations that do something similar to us. We've had shows at other galleries, specifically some for like Autism Acceptance Month, where we've had shows at other galleries during the month of April. So yeah, we have a lot of partnerships that we do.
I love to hear about the partnerships because that's always the best when you're reaching other people and they're reaching you.
Yeah. Yeah, we love to be a part of the community. And then the artists, some of them, especially some of the next level artists, are also really good self-promote. You know, they'll.
I love that.
Yeah, so we have this one artist, Heather, who is involved in just about anything she can get into. So whether it's a show at a library of her own work, or I think like her sister has a business over in Sharpsburg, so she does like different sidewalk sales there. She's participated in our Carnegie crawl and just set up a table of her own work. So, you know, we have some people that love it so much that they're going to also seek out their own opportunities.
That's great.
Yeah.
It really is. So if there's anybody out there that has not heard of Studio Forget Me Not, and if this doesn't do it already, but what's maybe one thing you would want people to know?
You know, I think when walking through the door, it's just to know that this is a place of community and joy, and they can come here and share in all of this. And we're happy to have the community come in and check out our classes or open our doors. We can't always have this door open if there's just one of us here and we're teaching classes, but we try to have the store open as much as possible. We have volunteers coming. So those are things that, you know, but it's just like if somebody comes up to our classroom door, you know, and they want to know more, I usually invite them in and say, come and check out the class. Come and check out what we're doing, you know. So
I love that.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing all of this, and hopefully as a result of getting the word out, people will come and check out Studio Forget Me Not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for joining me and for having me here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it.